Hey guys, it is 8:31, which means it is Cosi Talks live time. Welcome aboard. All right, guys, I am getting my notes here in order for this evening. We've got a couple of really great questions that y'all have been emailing me over the week. So I'm really excited to do a little bit of the talking today with this. All right, guys, cheers. As you come on board, you know the routine. All right. Let me just get things going here with the comments. And as you guys jump on board, give me a shout out. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and what's in your drink. All right, starting to see a few people jump on board. So guys, don't be shy. As always, my computer is a little on the slow side, so it takes a little bit of a time delay to get some of these comments in. All right, guys. Oh, I realize my sign's a little crooked. There we go. Now we got everybody inside. We got Bob here. Poor Bob. Bob's like lost his face. He's lost a couple of legs. He's in bad shape. I need to get a new Bob. All right, guys. As you jump on board, don't be shy. Let me know who you are, where you're from, and what is in your coffee mug. For those of you joining me for the first time, that's kind of part of your hazing ritual for joining Cosi Talks Live. I love to get to know who's out there watching and get to know my folks. We got Tabitha Johnson from Alabama drinking her coffee. Cheers to you, Tabitha. All right, we got some more people jumping on board. This is awesome. So guys, I'm really excited. There's been a little bit of a change in how things have been working lately. Many people have been emailing me their questions, and I really like that because it gives me a chance to start a conversation with some of you about your questions before the show starts. Stephen says, I think I'm going to foster Bob. I think you need to, Stephen. He needs to be rescued from my 4 children who are science enthusiasts, but unfortunately it means that poor old Bob. I'm trying to find another one. It's actually like a model meant for kids. It's a really great learning tool. It's a great puzzle that they had to put together. And he looked great when he was all together. So yeah, I'm in the process of trying to find out where I can get another one of these guys. Hey, Vicky, thanks for joining. We've got Mark on board. We got Keitha, got your coffee. Joan is aloha from Ottawa. Aloha. We got Robert in the house. Mark is saying it is hot down here. Yes. And guys, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this to make my northern folks jealous, but I've got a running patient right now that she and I are getting our butts handed to us when we're running out here in this weather. It's already way too hot. Damon, man, what's going on? We got Mitch, left AK from Gainesville. Yes, drinking a can of Fit Aid. All right, we got a gator in the house. All right, and Vicky from Tennessee. Harsh, thank you for joining, Harsh. And let's see, I'm doing much better, Harsh. Thank you. Finished my antibiotics. I have joined the world of living. So yeah, getting caught up on all my laundry. I don't know if y'all can hear my laundry machine in the background, but it has been going nonstop as I'm trying to catch up. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. We got a wonderful show for you this evening. Let's see. What else we got? Who else we got? Yeah, 88 degrees. 88 degrees in freaking February. Okay, so for those of you who are joining me for the first time, my name is Cosi Belloso. I'm a physical therapist, amputee specialist here in hot, sticky, humid Tampa, Florida. I've been a PT now for over 17 years, and my passion is working with the limb loss community. I have a private practice here in town that is exclusively for working with amputees. And I've had just a lot of exciting things. So I don't know if some of you had the chance, but I've been posting videos of one of my star patients, Jessica. She's been gracious enough to allow me to film some of her treatments so that I can share with you some of the things that I talk about. So the latest one was a couple of days ago. She was doing a really beautiful exercise running drill. And we're gonna get to the why that was kind of important in just a minute. We've got Brandon here from Alabama. Let's see. Hey, Ashley, there's my girl with her sweet tea. All right, so I'm going to tackle one of the first questions. This one was emailed to me by Josh, and Josh asks, anybody have any tips on learning how to walk? Brand new AK. So Josh, one of the first things you need to do when you're in, this goes for above the knees and below the knees, you got to get your sense of proprioception. And those of you who've been with me for a while, they're like, there she goes again, talk about that proprioception again, soapbox. All right, so proprioception is your brain's ability to know where your body is in space, Josh. So basically, when you close your eyes and you give somebody 2 thumbs up, you can do so without looking at your thumbs. That's your brain's ability to know where it is in space. So with amputation, you lose that because you've lost the anatomical foot, you've lost a part. In your case, you've lost your knee. So your brain has to become reacclimated to that. And in that case, it's going to start accepting your new prosthesis. Okay. So guys, in this post, I'm going to be posting exercises that I do for all of my patients, all of my beginner patients, my intermediate, and even some of my advanced patients to help specifically with this. And it starts with just gentle weight shifting and figuring out where your feet are in space. So Josh, if you haven't already done so, really look for a physical therapist who specializes in working with amputees. We are not unicorns anymore. There's more of us popping up, and I'm starting to see some of the young generation of new graduates becoming interested in working with the amputee community. So we are out there. You just got to go and find us, and it might involve having to leave your zip code and possibly having to go outside of your insurance to find a physical therapist who knows how to teach you to use the leg. Okay, Josh, so one thing I tell new amputees is your team, making it made up of your prosthetist and your PT. Your prosthetist builds the car. They build that beautiful leg and they fit it to you. Your PT is the one who teaches you how to drive that car, teaches you how to do the gait training and the walking. Okay, so just little tidbits here and there. And guys, this applies to the below the knees out there and my bilateral amputees. All right, because it can definitely be very overwhelming when you're first getting that prosthesis, especially if you don't necessarily have a full team together that's kind of pointing you and pushing you into the right direction. So Josh, if this is the case for you, your step needs to be find that physical therapist. And I'm more than happy to answer questions in the meantime for you. Thank you, Mark. Let's see, Doug is saying it's 28 degrees in St. Louis. Ooh, sorry, Doug. All right, here we go. Dick Devers left below the knee in West Virginia with his hot tea. What's going on, Dick Devers? Carol, there's my golden girl with her peppermint tea and her Cosi Talks mug. Oh, plug opportunity. Thank you, Carol, for that one. Guys, mugs are on sale at the Cosi Talks website for those of you who are interested. We got Grant on board from Utah drinking the Earl Grey. No Diet Dr. Pepper tonight, Grant? All right. Hey, Doug. So he says, thanks, Cosi. I believe that's a part of my problem. And again, guys, one of the reasons why you hear me talking so much about proprioception is, again, this is a problem that's relevant to everybody who's a beginner through advanced. And just by doing some of these foundational exercises as maintenance, it just keeps your brain challenged. So I'm going to be sure to put that link up. It was a video on YouTube that I did with Mission Gate Organization in Virginia. So I'll be sure to put the link up for that after this is over. Doug says, my PT knows more about my C leg than I do. Well, good. Your physical therapist should know about your C leg. I would hope so. And let me take that back a little bit. By the end of your physical therapy, Doug, you should know more about your leg than your PT, if your PT is doing their job right. Just saying. Diana here from Virginia, just water tonight. That's all right, Diana. We won't hold it against you. Hey, Troy, thanks for joining us. Let's see, Mark. Did I speak to that guy on the Facebook amputee site? Not yet, Mark, and we're going to follow up on that later, definitely. Robert says it's -4 in Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of new folks on here. We got Vincent here, says, hi, beer. What is the best prosthetic parts to use for someone with a bad back? I can walk 50 yards without assistance, 100 with using a cane. Okay, so Vincent, that's a really great question. 80% of amputees experience back pain within 5 years of losing their limb. Okay, very, 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 very common problem, unfortunately. A lot of it will depend upon what is causing your back pain. Is it because you have a disc that is starting to herniate? Is it because you have stenosis in your spine, meaning that your spine is kind of closing in a little bit? Is it perhaps not necessarily back pain, but it's actually maybe sciatic pain that's referring to your back and mimicking back pain? Okay, Vincent, the first thing you need to do is you need to figure out where this back pain is coming from. And this is where the help of a back pain specialist physical therapist can work wonders. And the good news is you turn a rock over here in the United States and you're going to find a million back specialist PTs, okay? But I would definitely go to a back pain specialist versus a general orthopedic physical therapist. They're the ones who can really fine tune and determine where that back pain is coming from and then give you the appropriate treatment. And guys, I got to tell you, I have seen time and time again, people who are on the brink of surgery, people who were on the verge of basically losing so much of their function, that they adhere to one of these back physical therapy programs, and it was completely life-changing. So Vincent, in the meantime, if you're using the 50 yards without assistance and 100 yards with a cane, sometimes with folks who are having a lot of back pain and I'm trying to get them to start moving just a little bit more in order for them to be safe, a walker is a different option. It gives you a little bit more support. And again, for you, I would say this might be something temporary while you're doing a back pain program, okay? In this back pain program, Vincent, once they find out what is causing your back pain, then they can go about strengthening the specific muscles that are causing the problem. Because that's usually what happens, Vincent. A lot of these muscles that are meant to support our core, and there's quite a few of them. It's not just the six pack. And we talked a little bit about this in last week's show, okay? A lot of these muscles are really kind of tough to target and keep in shape, okay? So when they start to get loose, a lot more of that stress goes on to our bones, to our spine, to our ligaments, and that's where we start to run into problems, Vincent, okay? So again, find out the root cause of that problem. Then you're going to be able to get some answers. All right, let's see what's going on. Grant says, no Diet Dr. Pepper, no time to go to the store. Oh, hey, Theo. Oh, glad you could join this evening. Let's see, Doug says, hello, Cosi. Recovery to the second below the knee amputation is going well. Should be on to physio in no time at all. Rock on, Doug. Coke Zero in my cup. Bravo, Doug. Bravo. All right. Jeffrey says, looks like snow for Charlotte, North Carolina. Second test fitting is Friday. Hats off to you, Jeffrey, man. I cannot wait to see you tearing around in those stubbies because I know that's what you're going to be doing. So Jeffrey is one of my bilateral above the knee amputee rock stars here in this group. So always a joy to have him on board. Josh, I hope you were able to listen. I just kind of answered a little bit of your question earlier. All right, guys, we're going to keep moving on to another question posed. Let's see, Sandy, okay. Sandy asks, I am a new above the knee amputee as of January 23rd. So pretty new. I'm not able to take phantom pain medications due to the side effects. Do you have other recommendations? I have considered medical marijuana, but very sensitive to it, become lightheaded and dizzy. So guys, I always say whoever can find a cure for phantom pain will be so rich, they're going to be able to buy their own island, because this is probably the number one problem that I would say plagues the amputee limb loss community. If you had to ask any amputee what is the one thing they could wish they could get rid of, phantom pain. And I think one of the biggest reasons why we have such a hard time treating it is, again, sometimes we don't know what's causing it. There's a lot of theories out there, a lot of think tanks, a lot of strategies as to how to deal with it, but we don't really have a definitive reason behind it. Okay, I can tell you what I've used with my patients over the past 17 years. Some of it is based on research that I've read over the years, and some of it is just based on basically I've been a therapist for that long. So I've seen and heard from different patients how they deal with the phantom pain and see what works, okay? So one of the first things is what I talked about earlier, those proprioception exercises, okay? I think one of the reasons, and this is again, one of my theories, that we have the phantom pain present is because the brain is trying to find a foot, right? It's trying to see like, what's going on? So instead what it does is it backpacks to the last memory of the foot, which was probably a very painful one, and boom, that's what comes out, right? So when you start doing these proprioceptive exercises with your prosthesis, you are basically hammering into your brain that this is your leg and it needs to accept it, okay? So a lot of my patients and a lot of people that I've seen who have an amazing sense of proprioception, meaning they could close their eyes and walk across the room confidently, I've noticed that they have less phantom pain. It's not to say that it gets rid of their phantom pain altogether, but in general, I've kind of noticed that throughout the years. Okay, and I'm thinking of one dear friend of mine in particular. She's an amazing athlete, above the knee amputee herself. And she does still have episodes of phantom pain, and they're pretty intense. It's a little heart-wrenching to see her go through it. But she has them every 4 months, maybe every 6 months. So it's a lot of spacing in between the time. So proprioception exercises. Number 2, electrical stimulation. So E-stem, and sometimes we call it E-stem. You might hear of it as also a TENS unit, okay, which is a specific setting of electrical stimulation. So physical therapists, we love to use electrical stimulation because it does exactly that for the muscle. It stimulates the muscle with a gentle electrical current. Gentle is the key word here. We're not frying you out there. All right. Gentle electrical current, and it helps stimulate weak muscles that are too weak to start. Okay, Cosi, let's try to talk English properly today. It helps stimulate muscles that are too weak to be able to contract voluntarily. So the E-stem kind of helps do that. Now there's a setting which I just mentioned. It's called the TENS setting, and I'm going to put that into the TENS. Okay. And the TENS setting is a much more low setting of this electrical stimulation. It's almost like a pins and needles sensation. So what it does is you put it on the person, and you might start off by putting it on their residual limb. And this pins and needles sensation basically tricks the brain. It's called the gate control theory of pain. So basically what it's saying is if you can get the brain to focus on something over here, it's going to forget about the pain over here. So that's what we try to do sometimes with the TENS unit with people who are having phantom pain. We'll start off by putting the TENS unit on the residual limb, okay, and just a few minutes every day, and it kind of just distracts the brain. There are some cases, and this is when it gets kind of interesting, where it's more effective putting it on the sound limb. So for example, if my patient is complaining that they're experiencing a lot of pain, phantom pain, in what used to be their right toe, then I might put the E-stem unit on their left toe, and they might experience relief. What I like about the TENS unit, guys, is number one, you definitely need a physical therapist to set it up for you. Please don't go to the store and just buy one over the counter. It kind of, you need a physical therapist to properly put it on you. But what I like about it is it's not a narcotic, it's not a medication, it's not invasive, and it's not damaging. It's under the use of a physical therapist, okay? Basically, it's one of those, it won't hurt to try, okay? So it's something that can be tried. And again, it's not an addictive, it's not, the negatives, there's really not negative side effects, okay? So that's kind of why I love using the TENS as an option. Another option, so we got proprioception exercises, electrical stim, mirror box therapy. Mirror box therapy. Mirror box therapy has been around a really, really long time. We're talking about even from when my mentor was practicing in the 70s, and even prior to that. Mirror box therapy has been a long time. And again, it's one of those where some people find it extremely effective. Some people get no use out of it. Some people have it relieve their pain when they're on the mirror itself, but then the moment they take the mirror away, the pain comes back, okay? But again, what I like about this technique is you're trying to trick your brain, okay? And again, that's where I think a lot of this phantom pain comes from, is the brain just gets confused and it wants to send out signals. So I think with the mirror box therapy, and they're using it now with other integrative therapies to help with phantom pain and with some success, okay? You're tricking the brain. And you're doing it in a way that, again, does not require medication, does not require any kind of invasive needles or anything crazy like that, okay? The key with mirror box therapy is a few minutes every day, consistency. And I've been talking a really long time, and I'm missing a lot of great comments. Connie says, I'm here, maybe snow in a couple of days, goodie. Steve Barrett says, new socket, new foot, good fit, we think, but back pain. Whenever we get new equipment, should we revisit physical therapy? Ooh, I'm gonna get to that question in just a minute, Steve, because that's a great question. All right, guys, so talking about the phantom pain, we've got proprioceptive exercises. We have electrical stim or the TENS unit. We have mirror box therapy, virtual reality. And this is kind of one of those new ones out there. And in my area, unfortunately, the virtual reality is only available to the veterans. The VA administration, they have quite a really nice setup for virtual reality. So it's not available to the civilian population. But that's something that I've seen promising things with. So if you happen to be in an area that offers virtual reality as a method to help with phantom pain, go for it. And if you're a veteran, definitely go for it. Give it a try, okay? And massage techniques. There are some people that I know of that they do massage warm compresses. And again, it's a little bit of an experiment. So guys, if you've noticed, there's kind of a common thread to everything that I've suggested is that all of the things that I've just talked about, proprioception, electrical stim, mirror box therapy, virtual reality, massage techniques, warm compress, they don't involve narcotics or medication. Now, before everybody, some people might jump on this, I think there is a place for some of these medications, definitely. But these medications come with very serious side effects, very intense side effects. Some of you who are taking Neurontin, oh my gosh, that will knock you down, okay? And like Sandy just said, even with things like medical marijuana, you know, the side effects are not necessarily worth whatever relief you may or may not experience, okay? So I always try, and again, you know, this is something that you may have to work with lifelong. So I always try to encourage people, you know, think about the medications, but also think about the non-medication possibilities and options that you might have. Try to use some of these options because in the long run, I think you're going to have a little bit of a better, you know, relief. And if the event is that you do need to take some of these medications, again, having a close conversation with your doctors and your pharmacist to make sure that you're taking the right dosage and just enough to be able to make yourself functional without having some of those nasty side effects. So I know I covered a lot of things right here. All right, guys, here we go. Robert says, the pain I can deal with, but it's the itching I have trouble with. And Robert, you know, that I've heard so much from patients, and that can be just absolutely infuriating. Robert, for something like itching, again, you can treat that the same way you might treat the phantom pain, either with the mirror box therapy and scratching your sound limb in the place where you're experiencing the itching on your residual limb, or using the TENS unit. Again, you know, if you were to come into my clinic and say, it's itching on my right shin, where my right shin used to be, then I might put that 10 unit on the left shin and just see if you feel any kind of relief there. Guys, go ahead and start. You know what? I want to hear about, because I always learn something new. I want to hear about how you guys deal with your phantom pain. Gail says, I had TMR surgery and still not working. You're so right. And again, Gail, it's such a mystery. It truly is a medical mystery. And I've said this before in many of my talks. If you were to line up 10 clinicians, surgeons, PTs, OTs, whatever, and you were to ask them what they thought the cause of phantom pain is, you would get 10 different answers. You would. And when you look at the literature I've been able to review, not a whole lot of update there. So we're still learning. I have seen some very promising things, and this is in Europe. So this isn't even here, it's over in Europe, where they're doing some biofeedback. And that, I think, is going to be another game changer there, where basically, I think the pictures I saw, the person was looking at the computer at, for example, in an above a hand amputee, so they could see what would have been their hand on the computer screen, and it moves according to what the residual limb is doing. So they're getting that visual feedback, and that has been proving helpful. So I'm really hoping that that kind of technology makes its way over to the United States sometime soon. Hey, Robin, glad you could join us. Let's see. Robert says, I use an antidepressant for pain, duloxetine. Okay. Let's see. Connie asks, what is the mirror image that is supposed to help with phantom pain? Okay, so guys, the mirror box therapy, it's quite simple. You take a long mirror, and usually it's one of those, like in the clinic, I would have those long rectangular dressing mirrors that you put behind a door, okay? And I would put it in between the patient's legs so that the mirror is facing the sound leg. So that when the patient looks in the mirror, it looks like he or she has 2 full legs. So they're not looking at the residual limb. They're looking in the mirror to see the 2 full legs. And there's different things that you can do. You can, for example, first of all, just have them look at it and acclimate. And I always just try to see, how is the patient reacting? Some patients, you know, it's a shock. It's a shock to them to see 2 full legs there in the mirror. And just start seeing, you know, is this changing your phantom pain at all? Is it better, worse, or the same? And if there's no change and they're tolerating it pretty well, then I might have them do, you know, have them move their sound leg and have them looking in the mirror to see the other leg moving, the mirror image moving. Or having them move their residual limb while looking into the mirror. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can kind of just try things out to see what triggers the brain, or more likely what de-triggers the brain, to see what will help decrease that phantom pain. Okay. Hey, there you go, Connie. Sorry. Here we go. Okay, Doug says he has the link to the Mission Gate video. Doug, if you're able to, would you mind putting that into the comments section, please? So Doug takes the 2,700 milligrams of Neurontin a day, and that's a pretty decent sized dosage, Doug. So how do you feel with the side effects? Let's see, Steve says, when doing physical therapy, should we bring in all the different shoes we are going to wear? Great question, Steve. So when I'm working with someone who's brand new to their prosthesis, I usually tell them pick one pair of shoes for several different reasons. Number one, as you start doing physical therapy, things are going to change in your socket, and you're probably going to need adjustments from your prosthetist. So it's always good just to have the same shoes there so that when they're making the adjustments to the alignment, it stays consistent, okay? Because as many of you probably already know, just even changing your heel height by ½ an inch, you know, in these different shoes can really start to make a difference in your alignment. So Steve, when folks are first learning to use their prosthesis, I tell them pick a nice sneaker that's not huge sole, just a nice supportive shoe that they can feel comfortable using every day on their sound leg, and to keep those shoes on. And it just keeps things consistent. And then once the person starts moving into independence with their prosthesis, then we can play around a little bit with the different shoes, and obviously talking with the prosthetist to see if any special alignment or considerations need to be done when using these different shoes. And guys, there's also prosthetic feet out there on the market. I know a lot of my ladies, they like to wear heels with their shoes, so they have the different kinds of feet that will adjust with the heel as well. Good question, Steve. And actually, let me go back to the question. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to keep up here. Y'all are asking some really great questions tonight. Okay, so Steve Barrett said, okay, whenever we get new equipment, should we revisit the physical therapist? Yes and no. So if you are changing, for example, from a mechanical knee to a computerized knee, yes, get thee to a PT who specializes in amputee. That's a lot of, right, okay. So yes, because there is a difference between using a mechanical knee and a computerized knee. And so many of my mechanical knee wearers, they come in with their computerized knee and they're so frustrated because they feel like they should be taking off, and they feel like it's actually holding them back because they don't know, again, they don't know how to drive that particular car, okay? So when something big like that, yes. If, for example, you are making a drastic change in your socket. So if you're going from perhaps a pin lock and you're switching to a subischal socket, then I would say, yes, go to your physical therapist, because that, and getting a subischal socket and getting those trim lines down, you're going to have to require a lot more glute strength in your butt, okay, to keep you stable and steady. And that's something that your therapist needs to help you with, okay? Small little changes in alignment here and there. If you're already an experienced wearer, then I would say not necessarily. If you notice a change, however, if you notice, wait a second, why am I all of a sudden falling? Why am I all of a sudden feeling like I'm out of balance? Yeah, talk to your prosthetist and then go see the physical therapist. In my, I call it the open door policy. In my clinic, my former patients are always welcome to come in for me to eyeball them and give them a quick checkup. And some of them will come in, I'll take a look at them and I'll be like, all right, you're good to go. See you in a few months. And others, I'll spot something and be like, yeah, we got to work that out before it turns into a problem. Okay. So that's the kind of good thing, is if you have that relationship with your physical therapist, most of us like to work that way as well. So good questions. Good questions. All right, let's keep going through here. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Robert says, I have found by contracting my leg muscle a certain way, I can contract the itching muscle. That's really great, Robert. And again, Robert, you're using the techniques that are employed by mirror box therapy, by the virtual reality, and by proprioception in trying to trick your brain. So well done, Robert. Gail says it takes time, they say yes. And that is one thing I did want to say. The person who asked me the question about the phantom pain, she's fresh out. She's January 23rd amputation. So obviously, as more time goes out, the phantom pain does start to improve. Unfortunately, there's no way to predict if it's going to go away altogether, or how often you're going to be experiencing that phantom pain, but it does start to improve over time. And I will say this again, this is not a research study. This is the Cosi 17 years of experience. Folks who get to wearing their prosthesis sooner, if they have any issues with their wounds or anything like that, once the wounds are closed and they get that socket on and they start wearing that socket, they tend to have less issues with the phantom pain. So Barbara says, TENS machine. There you go. Brandon says, mirror therapy learned in the military. Hooah, Brandon. I barely have it. I am a below the knee amputee. And again, guys, let me just say another little thing about the mirror box therapy, because I've heard, just reading the support group comments, oh, the mirror box therapy didn't work, or it came back the minute I took the mirror away. A lot of the thing with these things is consistency. So even if you just do 5 to 10 minutes a day, but do it every day, that's when I start to see people who have results with some of this. Hey, Gabriella, hopefully you got that. The last, my explanation on mirror therapy and how it's done. Dick Devers says, I am blessed never to have phantom pain. Yes, you are, Dick Devers. You are definitely blessed. Damon says, thankfully, my phantom pains do not occur frequently, and they are typically short spurts. And again, Damon, if you don't mind my bragging on you just a little bit, Damon is an extremely active young man. And again, those correlations that I kind of put together over the years, people who are more active, people who their prosthesis is their leg. You know what I mean? Like they wake up in the morning, leg goes on, leg doesn't come off until nighttime. That is their leg. Less problems. They still get it, but not as often. Let's see, Jeffrey says, for phantoms, I sit on the bed and up onto my stumps and count, back down and do it over and over. Works great over time with phantom decreasing. Okay, so again, you're giving that proprioceptive input there, Jeffrey. Okay, and Doug, thank you so much. Guys, Doug just posted the balance exercises that I like to use for proprioception, and he put the link up there. So thank you, Doug. Let's see, Steve says, my PT taught me how to rotate my ankles, stretch my arch, bend my toes. She explained they are phantom feelings, not phantom pains. Learn to control the missing limb. The nerves are still there firing off and controlling them, and you control the pain. She's half right, almost there. So phantom pain and phantom feelings are different. Phantom sensation, okay? So the phantom pain is exactly that. It's that electrical current, burning fire pain. Phantom sensation is that you feel the limb there. It's not painful, but it's there. It's present. You feel where your toes used to be. You feel the bottom of your foot. Those of you who are above the knee, you might feel your knee, okay? but it's not necessarily painful. And again, especially with the phantom sensation, people notice when they're wearing their leg, it's not as intense when they're wearing their leg. Let's see, Matthew Brewer says, hey, Cosi, after I detoxed off all the opiates I was prescribed, I had a treatment called transcranial magnetic stimulation, which all but killed my phantom limb pain. I get slight discomfort maybe once a month, but nothing like it was prior. I've heard about the transcranial magnetic stimulation, Matthew. I don't know much about it though. But again, it's one of those where it's not invasive. So that makes me want to read up a little bit more on it. Doug says you eventually get used to the fatigue. Brandon says, how do you find the different foot shells for your prosthetic? My private insurance doesn't pay for that, but I would like to buy them for myself. Brandon, that's a great question. So the foot shell, meaning just the flesh covering that goes over the foot, typically the only place you can get those is the prosthetist office. Even as a physical therapist, I'm not able to access the prosthetic components. So the prosthetist is the one who can get this for you. As far as what they're able to give you at paying out of pocket, the prosthetists, they're the ones who can let you know how that can happen, Brandon. And if I have any prosthetists on board who would like to answer that question, feel free. More than welcome. Josh says my phantom pain was terrible for 3 weeks, and when I started wearing the shrinkers, it slowly faded away. And he says I also have a power dot and use the EMS quite a bit, and it really helps. Electrical stim. There you go. So Gail says TMR is the surgery to help with the phantom pain, but the TMR surgery takes about a year for the nerve to grow into the muscle. So guys, just a brief overview, and this is something I would love to do a full talk on sometime in the future. Targeted muscle reinnervation, where basically it's taking that nerve that's flopping around inside your soft tissue that's been caught and causing problems and plugging it back into a muscle where it can actually do what it's meant to do, which is make the muscle contract. So let's see. Damon says, thanks for the young man comment. You are a young man, Damon. Doug says, does anyone use a massager on their limbs? And guys, yeah, this is something that, gentle massage techniques are what I hear many of you use. It's something that I've taught my own patients. It helps with desensitizing the limb overall in general. Okay, so, yep, let's see. John Jones. John, there you are, man. It says, sorry I'm late. We were setting up the workout room. All right. What did we have? Oh, let's see. Let me get through some of these questions, and then I'll get to the last part. Cramps and arch and toes are real even when there's nothing there and it breaks you out. Yep. Mitch says to check eBay for foot shells. There you go. All right. Kay says late too, snowing like mad, took forever to make it home. Yes, and she says, I like that I can catch up on YouTube. Awesome. And guys, if you don't mind if I take just a moment here to plug my YouTube channel. If after the show is done, if you guys could go to my YouTube channel, it's under Cosi Talks, and just hit subscribe. The reason being is I'm starting to put all of my videos up there, and I just find that it's easier for folks to be able to access. And especially now that I'm doing more exercise videos, it just makes it a little bit easier to find. So if you guys don't mind, after the show is over, or even now, if you want to open up another tab and hit subscribe to the Cosi Talks channel, I would really greatly appreciate that. Thank you, Kay, for that plug. Let's see. All right, guys, so let me talk about the other question. Speaking of the YouTube channel, 2 days ago, today's what, Wednesday? So on Monday, I had the pleasure of working with one of my favorite patients, Jessica. And Jessica is a beautiful young woman that you've seen lately on a lot of my videos, who's learning how to run on her below the knee prosthesis, and she is totally rocking it. I have her signed up for a race. I'm going to keep you guys posted on how she does, because I see this girl going places. So she's been gracious enough to allow me to video and post her videos of the different exercises that she's doing. So some of the exercises I've already posted are on YouTube, including how to do the exercises. And just because she's a runner, I don't want you guys to be hesitant about looking at these exercises. The exercises I'm giving her are some of the same exercises that I give my beginner patients. They're just modified. And I show you on these videos how to modify the exercise. So the other day when we were working together, we were doing ladder exercises. And some of you are familiar with this, where basically you have a ladder that's on the floor, on the sidewalk, and then you do various exercises like stepping in and out of the ladder, in and out of the ladder, in and out of the ladder, in and out of the ladder. So I was having her do these forwards. She rocked it. I had her do it sideways. She rocked it. And I'm sitting there, how can I challenge this gal? So I had her do it backwards. So what was interesting is when she was going backwards through the ladder, she was leading with her sound leg. Okay, and because she's a runner, she really needs to be able to rely on both legs as equally as possible. So when I told her to start leading with her prosthesis, boom, that's where she ran into some problems. But it was good because it helped kind of tease out where the weakness was and where her balance issues and deficits were. So I had her just do that same exercise, leading with her prosthesis a few times, and then I filmed her. So you can see on the YouTube channel the result of that. And you can see how beautifully she starts to lead with the prosthetic leg, okay? The reason why I'm saying this is because so many of you have asked me, when I'm doing my exercises, when I'm walking, when I'm doing my daily activities, should I be leading with my sound leg or with my prosthesis? And many of you will tell me, well, my prosthetist told me to lead with my prosthesis, or my physical therapist told me to lead with my sound leg, or a lot of conflicting opinions. So I'm going to tell you what I do with my own patients. When we are starting exercises, when we're starting to learn to use the prosthesis, I have my patients lead with the prosthetic side. When I'm demonstrating the exercise to them for the very first time, I'll have them do it once or twice with the sound limb so that they can get an idea as to how to do it. And then I immediately have them switch over and start doing it with the prosthetic side, leading with it. And this is the weight shifting exercises that Doug just posted. These are the strengthening exercises. They're also on that same link and channel, okay? Or just any of the exercises, balance exercises, running exercises. I always have the person start with their prosthetic limb. Here are some of the disclaimers. It has to be in a safe setting, because obviously when you're first learning to use that prosthesis, there's going to be a lot of whoa moments, especially those of you who are learning how to use a prosthetic knee. So my patients are in parallel bars where they can grab on if they need to as they start to do with the prosthetic leg first. And again, guys, it's all about feeding that brain, tricking the brain into thinking that that prosthetic leg is now your new leg, okay? And in real life, think about it, guys. If you can remember back to when you had two anatomical legs, did you think about, oh wait, which leg should I put first? No, you didn't think about that. And that's how ideally it should be with your prosthesis. You should be able to step onto a moving platform, get onto the escalator, get off an elevator equally with both sides leading, okay? It takes time, it takes a lot of practice, and repetition is the mother of memory. And I posted that on that particular video, okay? So usually what I do when I see that someone is very hesitant to start initiating with that prosthetic side, I find a balance exercise or a particular technique that they do feel comfortable doing, and then I have them repeat, 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 and repeat some more until the brain starts to acknowledge this, okay? Now, for those of you who are my bilaterals, I didn't forget about you, okay? With bilateral amputees, there's gonna be one side that's stronger than the other. If you're an above the knee and a below the knee, chances are your below the knee is gonna be the stronger side. So when I've had amputees like that, I will start teaching them the exercise on the below the knee side, but then I'll switch them to start leading with the above the knee side, okay? If you are someone who is equal, so for example, you're a bilateral above the knee, a bilateral below the knee, and you're fairly equal in limb length, okay, then it's just a matter of taking turns with each side so that you feel equally comfortable with each side. But in general, most of us have a leg that we prefer, even our bilaterals. So use the other leg, okay? All right, here we go. Hey, Robert, glad you could join us this evening. Aw, shout out to Robert from the Limb Kind Foundation, man. Show Robert some love, guys. This guy's amazing what he's doing for these kids. Robert, what part of the world are you going to right now? Because I know you're taking a trip somewhere. Where is it, the Philippines? Type that in the section for me, Robert. Okay, so guys, kind of going back, I've been asked recently in past few weeks to talk a little bit more to my more active athletic folks who are listening in this audience. So I'm going to give you a little running tidbit for my running nerds out there, and I'm a running nerd, so that's why I can say that. So guys, if you go back to that video that I was just talking about with Jessica, with her doing the ladder drills, what I love about the ladder drills, it's not just about the balance and coordination that you get from doing this, it's also about muscle recruitment, okay? So when you're running, okay, obviously the change between both legs is much faster. And then on top of that, so much of the time you actually spend with your feet off the ground in what's called the double float phase. So when your foot actually hits the ground, your body needs to be able to recruit all those muscle fibers quickly. Okay, so it's not just about having big muscle fibers, lots of muscle fibers. It's about activating those motor units quickly. So oftentimes I'll have people like Jessica who actually have pretty decent strength, but they need to learn how to engage those muscles without thinking about it. So with these ladder drills, you're having to move both feet quickly, okay? So you're having to engage those muscles, quick turn on, quick turn off, quick turn on, quick turn off, quick, 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 quick. And like many of my patients will say, I can't think about what I'm doing. I'm like, good, you're not supposed to be thinking, you're just supposed to be doing. So with anybody who's doing running right now and you're looking for a new challenge, check out these ladder drills. They're very simple, but very, very effective. Okay, again, getting you to recruit those muscle fibers quickly. All right, guys. Woo! Robert says they're going to Ethiopia on Friday night. Holy cow, Robert, that's amazing. Ethiopia, wow. Wow. Guys, and Robert, you need to do some plugging here. Robert, go ahead and post the website for the Limkind Foundation. Folks need to hear more about you. And I need to have you on my show, Robert. I don't know why we haven't scheduled that yet, so hopefully I can get a hold of you before Friday and get a show in the books. But in the meantime, Robert, go ahead and plug what you do, because it's really a beautiful, beautiful ministry what you do. Put that in the comments section, your website for the Limkind Foundation. And Matthew says, we love Robert Schulman. There you go. Wendy, Robert, you got a big fan following here. Let's see. And Wendy, he says, Wendy and Matt, who are watching and rock stars, are coming on the next trip to Kenya in 4 months. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, guys, we are going to wrap it up for this evening. Robert, get that thing in the comments section. Get your website in there. So guys, thank you so much again. Really, really exciting evening. I've got a couple of special guests lined up coming up in March. So be sure to check back with the Cosi Talks website, because now I have a beautiful website thanks to my new web designer, and get all the updates on there. And I have my email subscription list. So those of you who haven't signed up, sign up and you'll get the weekly advance notice on the videos and where to find everything and all that kind of good stuff. As always, guys, if I didn't get a chance to answer your question, it was not on purpose. It's because these comments are flying through. Feel free, please, to message me and I will be more than happy to answer your questions. So that's about it for now. I am going to wrap it up. There we go. We got the Limkind Foundation website, guys. Check it out. It's a beautiful organization. Beautiful organization. All right. Yes, Robert, I am going to come on a trip with you soon, and I'm going to be taking 2 of my kids with me. That's my goal, is I want to take 2 of my kids with me when they're old enough to go on one of these mission trips with you. All right, guys, I said it, so now you know you got to hold me accountable to it. All right, guys, I'm signing off for real this time. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you, Ashley. I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. God bless, guys. Thank you.